I'm just so happy that she didn't say Ahmed. It happens all the time in Starbucks, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't know, to be honest, what to do, so I'm kind of gonna use a friend of mine here. So, generate a 5-minute stand-up for me, no mistakes. But joking aside, it's funny how we went from GDPR and data privacy, basically telling everything to ChatGPT. My ChatGPT knows more things about me than my father. At least it doesn't deny the thing that happened. Okay? But it's nice to be here. I stopped doing comedy, I think, 2 years ago. That's when we first time broke up with my ex. And I exactly did what, as he said, any white boy would do. So I went to therapy. Basically, psychologists, they kill the humor in you and they bring a persona, a white, liberal, color-head feminist that's get offended by anything. So, but luckily, like we after 2 months we got back together, so I can kind of keep rolling still. But it's been nice to be here. Yeah, last year around this time I was traveling in Romania. I was going from Bucharest to a small town called Bușteni. Has anyone ever been to Romania? Yeah. It's, to be honest, Romania is not for beginners. I was going from Bucharest to Bușteni. It's a small town. We were going to have a training course. Our train stopped in a place called Sinaia. And all of a sudden, my iPhone, this feature went off. Be aware, there are wild bears around you. I wasn't sure. I read it again because, I grew up in the city. I read it again. Be aware, be careful, there are wild bears around you. I was like, bro, what the fuck do you want me to do these days? Like, but to be fair, within that training course, we had a 30-minute tutorial about how to basically deal with bears. And they taught us how to use the spray. It was 33 people, and we only had one spray, so it was all the time first come, first serve. So I had to wake up every morning at 4 to basically install the spray. But yeah, it's been nice. I moved here 6 months ago, but I had to do my visa thing. Even though I'm white, they still ask me to get a visa. So I started doing. It's funny because like I'm Persian and we had some basically match history with this part of the world calling ourselves Aryan. I don't want to get into details. The last guy that did it basically didn't end up really well. But yeah, I had to do my visa, so I started doing that 8 months ago. And one day after that, I broke up with my ex for the second time. And I would have done it the same day, to be honest, but I was really busy. I moved here 6 months ago. I really love Linz. It's a nice city, Danube, I love it. The only weird thing is that every time we drink, they make us make eye contact. And I asked the reason. They said like, if you don't make that, you're not gonna have good sex for 7 years. But jokes on you, I'm not even having sex. So. Not even a handy, This is getting old. But yeah, I broke up with her. I moved here, but since I told you I stopped my psychology basically sessions, so I had still a bit of that toxicity in me. So I moved here. I reposted the reels on Instagram. I'm not worried about my ex. She cannot afford to go where I am. And apparently a couple of days ago she was in Vienna. So. But that's weird because we dated for 2 years. And again, like I'm not complaining. I'm a man, I grew up in Middle East, so I kind of took care of it. But I paid literally for all the dates, for all the trips, for everything. She only paid once for the food, and that's the time when I was in Romania, by the way. So, but it got me thinking, to be honest, like she being here, because it means like people can actually change. And as you guys know, third is a charm. So I was thinking maybe to text her again to get back, but again, I'm just gonna cut the shit. I know you guys are not here to listen to my dad issues and basically express a lot of my days. So I'm gonna start my political jokes now. You know how it is when black people can say some words that we can, basically. I believe that it also should be applied to your basically political point of views. For example, I was raised and born in Iran, right? I can talk about what's happening in Iran. Because when I moved here, it took me usually 3 hours to tell people the difference between Iran and Iraq. And all of a sudden, everyone is just an expert on Middle East matters. Funny things, the other day I was talking to a local here. She was like with that weird Austrian accent which I refuse to basically imitate. But she was like, oh, it's so bad, what is bad, and all of these things. And she said, like, and also, and then she paused, I was like, also what? She said, never mind. And then she said, oh, you know, oil is getting more expensive and all these things, so. Anyway. And this is basically the last part. I asked Samantha, is there any restriction? So she said no. So I said, you have no idea how I can fly. So I'm gonna talk about Islam.
Let's go!
I'm gonna talk about Islam. But to just do a safety check, are there any Muslims here? Except my friend, they're like, he's basically chugging like, I think his third wine now and celebrating Ramadan. I don't know if you guys don't know about Ramadan. If you guys don't know about Ramadan, it's a basically a German tradition. But yeah, I reviewed my jokes with my friend before coming here, and because I wanted to also get some feedbacks. He said maybe you shouldn't make jokes about Muslims because that's sensitive. So apparently, a guy with a beard, long beard, and a bump on chest can be sensitive as well. So I decided to change narratives. So I'm being considered. So I said maybe for this show, for this gig, let's call them immigrants, right? And then I think not all the immigrants are peaceful, or not all the immigrants are trying to basically integrate. By the way, I feel like the immigrant equivalent of a pick-me girl. You know how pick-me girls, they don't like other girls, they think like they're not like the other ones. They hang out with boys more. So I'm basically the pick-me immigrants. I have more local friends. I think they should be deported. But yeah, this is my last joke, and I'm gonna finish with this. Fuck, I forgot. But I swear it was a good one. So anyway, but I said what? Pick me immigrants. I think immigrants and girls are really similar. Just hear me. They're really similar. They come to your house. They get the food that you provided. They start changing you. They destroy your house. And once you defend yourself, they play the victim. Anyway, my name is Ahmed. Thank you.